Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
And welcome back, everyone, to Answers for Elders Radio Network. And we are talking about joy all this hour. And for those of you that are listening to the program today, I hope you'll just sit back and think about some happy times in your life when you felt surrounded by a community. And one of the things that's really beneficial and why I really wanted to have Encore on was because I have a personal story. And Joshua, we talked a little bit about, in our first part of the hour about all the things it does. And one of the things that crossed my mind is when I was singing with Choir of the Sound, I lost my dad. And it was kind of a sudden situation. He was diagnosed with advanced pancreatic cancer. And it was just like he had days to live. It was that overwhelming. And I remember coming back, and I normally, was so much of a presence in my choir, and certainly, with my big mouth, and I was very much involved, but I just withdrew because I was in so much grief and I didn't know how to handle it. And, the sense of community, I will always feel grateful to my choir, because what they did was the conductor called me after I'd missed a couple rehearsals. And he said to me, Suzanne, I said, there's just no way I was telling him, I can't memorize. I can't do anything. I'm dealing with the loss of my dad. And it's just, I can't handle it right now. And what he said is, the purpose of our choir is not to memorize things. Yes, we memorize things for performance, but the purpose of our choir is about community, and it's about putting our arms around each other and supporting one another. And this is where you need to be. And he talked me into coming back, and it's making me emotional, because I remember how alone I felt when I lost my father. And yet I had this amazing group that embraced me and held me up. And, I think about so many of our seniors that may be grieving someone, whether they lost someone during the pandemic, whether they, lost friends or loved ones, or, they're dealing with a transition. Maybe they let go of their home and they're now into senior living, things like that. There is so much grief that happens. And I am like, I'm interested if my story, Joshua, may be similar. Do you have stories like that in your organization?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing your own personal story, Suzanne. I know that is extremely meaningful to you. And we hear those stories every single day. And I love how you opened this segment with, today we're talking about joy, because that is what I see on the faces of our singers. And there's something powerful about music, about when you walk into that space, whether it be over Zoom, if you're not ready to come back yet, or you're in a room with other singers, there's something about being a part of something that's bigger than yourself, right? And being a part of that community, like you shared. It's really hard to be thinking about other things when you're thinking about and singing music. And so music kind of transports you to another place.
Yes.
And you kind of leave those things that might be hurting you, or things that you might be grieving, or things that might be causing you stress or anxiety or troubling. You kind of leave those things at the door for 90 minutes. And you get to experience the joy and the power of singing with others. Yeah. And there's something where there's just not a lot of space for hurt. Now, sometimes we use music to help express things that we're going through as well. But there's just something so powerful about music, like you shared. We hear those every single day. I have to tell you a story that I just heard yesterday, Suzanne, that just absolutely, I just can't stop thinking about it. But I had a singer who told me, that they're a lung cancer survivor. And that when they were diagnosed 10 years ago, their doctor said the best thing you can do, because she had one lung removed and she had to learn how to, breathe properly with only one lung. The doctor said, you need to go and sing. That's the best exercise
yes.
for lungs. And so she went and she found Encore, and she joined Encore just so she could exercise her lung. And she said, amazing. I had no idea what I would find when I came to Encore, but not only do I love Encore because I get to sing and be a part of community, but it's literally the breath that I breathe. And
Mm-hmm.
I just thought, wow, wow, we're doing something big here at Encore. And,
Well,
you know, we
you
do
are. And
all
I
the time.
think too, having been classically trained as a voice major, I know the power of breath and learning about health and how important our breathing is to our sustenance for being healthy. And there's so much to do in the fact of exercising that muscle in your life, and I remember my voice teacher would, put his fist right up in my diaphragm when I was first, learning, because it was learning to use those muscles, those stomach muscles, to really project your voice out. And we tend to talk from our throat. And so we're not getting in to all of the capacity that we have for breath when we sing. And I think that's one of the things that's so amazing about the aspects, the health aspects, excuse me, of doing so.
Yeah, there's so many benefits, like you just said, physically, but mentally and socially and physiologically, all of those things. There's so many benefits to it that keep older adults sharp and connected
Yes.
and engaged and creative.
Yeah.
And there is great power in that.
Yeah. And not to mention, when I sit there and I think about, there's a lot of seniors right now that are either downsizing, letting go of a big house. All of a sudden they have all this time on their hands. They sit and, you can only watch so many episodes of, Rockford Files or anything like that. It's basically, learning to discover something that you can celebrate. And, for many people, they're getting to know one another. They might have some shyness. They might have some sense of, I don't really know how to fit into a new group of people. The beauty of music is it's a leveler. Everybody comes in, they're at the same, point, and they're sharing something together. And that's how relationships, in my opinion, is having that commonality and that camaraderie that people experience together. And I know for me, I will never forget some of the experiences that I had of singing, in my choir. I remember we did a concert in Meany Hall at the UW, which was just amazing. We did another concert in Benaroya Hall. And, to think about those experiences, I never would have thought that I would have had those opportunities. But that's the beauty of coming together like that. And of course, am I any sort of expert? Heck no. But I certainly enjoyed it. So that was so great. So Joshua, when you're working with a senior that, maybe is going through some special transitions or things like that, have you guys found that you've found some resources within your organization that you have ways to bring people into the circle?
Yeah, absolutely. Not only have we built partnerships and relationships and have those resources, but I think some of the best resources our singers have found are each other. They're able to lean on people who have gone through those different stages of life. I've heard our singers share stories about finding friendships that have helped them through certain stages, or they've been able to link up with someone who is going through that same journey. And so I think there's kind of the resources that might educate or support, but there's also just that relational resources that our singers have found among their own groups.
Right. And certainly with the pandemic, given how it is, how have you found your world to be different since COVID?
Yeah, I mean, we have had to rethink everything the way that we do. Every performing arts organization has, because of the way COVID transmits. Choral singing has been one of the most affected. And so whether it's requiring vaccines and boosters or wearing certain types of masks, keeping distance, we've had to reimagine the way that we do collective choral singing, but we're finding a way. We truly are. And one of the things that I'll say about Encore creativity is that we leverage technology to be able to create Encore University. And I don't think we would have ever done that, nor would a lot of arts organizations really embrace technology and reaching more people through Zoom. I mean, Encore Creativity didn't even know what Zoom was pre-pandemic.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So I think there have been some benefits. You hate to think of it that way. Like, how does anything good come out of a pandemic? But I would say that there absolutely has been.
Yeah, yeah. And, I do think so too. I think we've learned to embrace more technology as a older adult population, but I think even more so, I think we're appreciating the special moments that we had to be without. I think there's much more of an ability to, want to reach out and connect with people that we maybe just took for granted. And the other thing is I think I'm finding at least that people are a little bit more introspective about their personal relationships, who they connect with. And with all the negativity going on in the world, talk about having something that's positive is so vital to our mental health. Whether we suffer from any mental health issues at all, there's that amazing opportunity to just disconnect for 90 minutes and celebrate the good in life. And that's a great thing.
Suzanne, you said that so perfectly. And I'll just mention too, as we're talking about coming out, living through this pandemic, I believe being a leader in the arts field, that there's a greater appreciation now for arts and creativity, because when we had nothing else and we were isolated in our homes, we turned to books and music and movies and writing. We turned to all of those, the different forms of arts to help us get through that. I can't imagine going through that time without any of the forms of art. And so I think people are coming back to society and realizing that, like, yes, going to my favorite restaurant or going over here to, play my video game, whatever it may be. But in those moments, we really turn to the arts. And I think we'll continue to have a great appreciation for it.
So Joshua, if someone wants to get involved, how do we reach you?
Yeah, so go to encorecreativity.org. That is our website. It is a one-stop shop, as I said, to be able to learn about all of our programs, what communities we're currently in, and how you can get involved and come sing with us, come perform with us.
Well, we can't wait. And I just might have to be convinced to join you guys. So
yes,
you never know. Depending on schedule, I go, oh my gosh. But, like we're talking about it, it's really exciting. So Joshua, thank you for being with us. I know you're so busy with your schedule, and we're going to have a special treat because the second half of this hour, we're going to be speaking with our Seattle conductor, the amazing Dr. Natalie Lurch. And Natalie, I am so excited to talk about our local program. And Dr. Natalie and I will be right back right after this. We at Answers for Elders thank you for listening. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.